So you may remember then a few weeks ago, we introduced you to our newest partner, Oasis Community Housing. And this is one of those interviews that we've been waiting for ages, but due to, first of all, my illnesses, and then Joanne's illnesses, and one thing leading to another, we didn't quite manage it. But now, loud and clear, we've got Joanne here. Good morning.
Morning, you all right?
Yes, we finally made it. You're here with us.
Yeah, we're here,
And
finally.
we're so excited to have you joining with us. Now, it's been a few weeks, and we did do the launch. I remember it. We did it on a Wednesday, and we asked everybody to get involved and to follow you on the socials. So that's what we want to do right now, in fact. So can you help us out? Because Oasis Community Housing, they've stood with us, and they're supporting us. So it's only fair that we support them and the great work that they do. If you don't know, they're a homeless charity who support men, women, and families across the northeast of England and London. Now, they're a Christian, so you wouldn't say that they're a Christian charity, but they're an organization where the Christian faith is at the heart of everything that they do. And go and have a look on their socials. Give them a follow. It's Oasis Community Housing. Go and tweet them right now and just say, we've got you on loud and clear. Give them a follow and head over to their website as well if you want to, oasiscommunityhousing.org. So, Joanne, tell us about Oasis Community Housing.
Well, we are an absolutely really lovely homelessness charity, like you were just saying. And I think what's really, really special about us is that we have our values and our mission right at the heart of everything that we do. We have this real faith in people, and we have this real belief that when people are given the love and support that they deserve, that great things can be achieved in their lives. And we have this real full picture of support. So we do your emergency support, your drop-ins and your clothes and your showers and those essentials. But what's really special about us is we don't just stop there. We help people get into work. We help with domestic abuse, and we help you form a community. We help you learn new skills. So it's not just about quick fixes. It's not just slapping a band-aid on the problem. It's how do we really resolve this long term? Yeah, so we're quite special in that regard.
Because it can be difficult to know how to help the homeless. And in fact, our question today is, do you give money to the homeless or do you support them in other ways? And I don't know if you've been following this, but some great responses from our listeners. And I've got a real heart for homelessness. And when I see somebody homeless, I basically ask them if they need anything. I say, do you need a drink?
Yeah.
Do you need some food? Is that the right way to go about it? Or should we be giving them money for something that they may decide to buy themselves?
I think I think first and foremost, listen to your heart, because there isn't a right or wrong in this. There's been lots written about giving money or not giving money, and different opinions and strong opinions. And I always think, listen to your heart and follow what you feel drawn to do. But the most important thing is to remember that when you are experiencing homelessness, you are looked over, you are walked past, you are ignored. And also people come in and try to fix you and fix things. So the more that you involve them actively in what's happening in and around their lives, the better. So the most important thing is to ask, is to stop and smile and say, can I do anything for you today? What is it that you need? And try and familiarize yourself with the support network in your area so that you can signpost them and say, oh, have you heard about this place? Have you tried that? Sometimes people need things you don't obviously think of, like they might need some socks or some underwear, or sometimes women who are on the streets might need some sanitary pads that they might need you to have a conversation before they're comfortable enough to ask that. So whether or not you give money, that's not the important question. The really important question is whether or not you truly engage and you take the time out to really get to know someone and give them some human connection that day.
And I think what's really sad is we don't tend to treat them as human beings like ourselves, do we? Because we see them there on the floor. And it's taken, actually, I've learned quite a lot from today's show, because people have been getting in touch and they've been saying, well, on hot days, I'll go in the shop and I'll buy them sun cream.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you never think about that, do you really? It's almost like a case of a homeless person, they probably need food and water. But there are other things, like you said, deodorants. They may need a toothbrush and toothpaste and sun cream, or if it's raining, they may need something to actually cover themselves with. And I just want to ask you about how the charity works. So let's just take the example of Bill. Bill is on the streets homeless at the moment.
Yep.
What do Oasis Community Housing do to help Bill? Practically.
well, what do we not do should be the question. We do everything. So Bill can be met by one of our outreach workers out on the street. So I'm going to use Graham as an example because he's a fantastic outreach worker. So Graham might go out in the early hours. He might see a sign of rough sleeping. So he might revisit that spot until he happens upon Bill. He'll have a conversation. He'll form that trust. He'll invite Bill along to our drop-in. When he comes to the drop-in, he can have a shower, he can have a cup of tea, but more importantly, he can have a conversation. And we've got staff there with laptops, with internet. Just think how many things now you do in a day on your phone, on the internet. When you're homeless, you can't just jump on and like apply for things, apply for benefits, apply to emails. So we can do that there with you. We can support you. And even really simple things like we'll have that day's newspaper, because you know they might want to know the football scores that day or what's going on in the world or what the politicians are up to. After that, we could get Bill into housing that day if we have a space in our short-term emergency housing. And when he's there, he'll get full trauma-informed support, because we do find that people experiencing homelessness nearly always have some instance of trauma in their history. After that, we can get Bill moved on with the support of other agencies or within our own housing services to a flat of his own, where he will get ongoing support to help him manage his money, to cook his food, to go shopping, to meet people in his community, to access arts and crafts. We have a wellbeing worker, Irene, who's honestly fantastic. She can help them get in the garden or make some things. After that, we have a financial capability team, we have an employability team, and we have a nurse that comes in as well. So yeah, what do we not do? We do everything.
It really is everything, because you use the example of, I suppose, plastering over the cracks, where sometimes we think that, well, if we chuck enough money at these people, then they'll be all right. But it's really not like that. And there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. Now, what we're going to do, we'll take a short break. And if you've got any questions for Joanne about what the organisation do, or maybe how you can help homeless people, then do get in touch with us. You'll be able to use WhatsApp. The link is on our website, connectradio.com. It's also within our own app as well, or the direct number to get in touch via WhatsApp, 0161 511 9555. That's 0161 511 9555. So thank you very much for your messages. We're currently speaking with Joanne Armstrong from Oasis Community Housing, all about homelessness. And it's fitting nicely, of course, with our question today. Do you give people who are homeless money, or do you help them in other ways? And I just want to go through this here because Les has been in touch, and he says, thank you for bringing up the subject of homelessness. Until we've walked a mile in their shoes, we really cannot appreciate what it's all about. And he says that a friend of his says that we're mostly all only one paycheck away from a park bench. That's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because, you know, especially with these rising costs of living at the moment, you know, and there are people really, really struggling. So thank you very much there, Les. And he said that what I used to do before inflation was, after my shop at the supermarket, I would give the trolley to a homeless lad and say, keep the money in it. But now £1, presumably, isn't going to go very far. So, Joanne, thank you for joining us this morning. And just to actually direct you again to what Oasis Community Housing is all about, you can find out everything you need to on their website. You'll never guess the address, oasiscommunityhousing.org, and you'll be able to find them on the socials as well. And I just want to touch upon this because just because a person is not actually outside a supermarket asking for money, there's something called hidden homelessness. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so hidden homelessness, I always think that's not the right term, because hidden almost sounds fun, you know, you're playing hide and seek, it's quite canny, but actually the term should probably be the forgotten or the overlooked or the ignored. So there's a huge sort of group of people, it's really hard to quantify the numbers, but there's a huge group of people who are homeless but are maybe sleeping in a car, so they're not classed as homeless. They may be sleeping on a friend's sofa or a parent's sofa, and the real anxiety around that is that your life becomes so unstable. You don't know how long you can stay. You don't know if you're going to start to be a burden on people. And that feeling that you can never settle, you're not putting down roots, you've got nothing that belongs to you, that is for you. You know, that aspect of homelessness is terrifying for people. And that's going to become a rising problem over the next few years. And it's already a huge problem in the UK.
Probably the first time that we've ever heard the phrase canny used on this show. So congratulations for bringing that. It's lovely to hear.
Slip that in. I slipped
These
that in.
words coming out there. So, Oasis Community Housing, as you mentioned, they do help with everything. And we did touch upon this slightly, but a message which is coming from Paul, and he said, I'd be interested to know, how long does the process usually take from taking somebody off the streets to getting them into work or education and for their life to sort of improve?
It can take years, and I think that's the really special thing about us and about what we believe, is that we believe that people deserve as many chances as it takes, and that you really need to stick with people. So some people will come to our drop-in and they'll need a few things to get themselves right back on track, where someone else, like Bill, who we mentioned earlier, Bill might come along and you know what, he might have had a lot of lifelong trauma, he might have had abuse and neglect in his childhood, so his homelessness might be tied up with all of that. So he might have drug and alcohol issues now and dependency. So we're not going to expect Bill to get sorted in 2 weeks or 2 months. It might take Bill 5 years to get sorted. And I did pop to one of our drop-ins a few weeks ago, and I bumped into this really lovely lad who was in the gardening. He described himself as a ray of sunshine. He said, everyone loves us everywhere I go. I'm a ray of sunshine. And then he told me that for about, I think it was about 12 years, he really struggled with alcoholism. But for the last 2 years, he'd been clean, and he was so bubbly and happy and telling us about his time with his kids and what he was doing and the progress he was making and how he was choosing to volunteer to now give back to the community. But, if I'd met that man 5 years before, it would have been a very different picture. And I think that's what's important about having a faith-based charity that really believes that you need that grace, you need that belief that people take time and that you stick with them and we can get there together, and you don't give up at the first hurdle. You keep going and going. And people like Bill or this lovely gentleman I met a few weeks ago, might take them 10 years, but that 10-year journey is worth it.
And this is the thing, because the potential in these people, again, we do tend to think, oh, they're homeless. They're just a number. They're just a person sat outside the supermarket. But we don't know what's gone on in their life for that to actually happen. And this, I've got to share this. What a wonderful story this is. And it's been sent in through Paul. And he says that, I'll never forget the time when there was a young homeless lad outside our local shops. And he used to tell the local kids that he used to be on the under 18s at Manchester United. And nobody believed him. We thought that he was just one of those people who, is telling tales and stuff. And he said that basically it was due to bad decisions, he said, that made him end up where he was. And anyway, we once saw him playing football in the local park. And he said it became apparent that actually he wasn't lying at all, because the skills he had got. Can you imagine? What a great story to tell. To see him play in the local park was like basically watching Pele play against a Sunday League team. And it's incredible because we don't know the stories of how these people got there. And, I've been blessed. I don't know about you, but I've been blessed with a wonderful family who have supported me. But many people haven't got that. Yeah. People have been brought up with abusive parents, parents who had addictions themselves. And that's how it can all start, isn't it, Joanne?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a wonderful story at the moment about one of our residents in our women's project she had a family life from early childhood that was very chaotic, and she was exposed to sort of neglect and violence. And it wasn't that her parents didn't love her, they just didn't know how to love her. They probably came from a family background the same, and then she was in and out of, honestly, countless foster homes before she was even 18, and then she was just given a council flat at 18. But you know what? I mean, I'm sure we all remember back to being 18. Most of us, even with fantastic upbringings and strong support, we're not that capable at 18. We're not that ready to go out in the world. And then if you add into that early trauma, abuse, many foster homes where you never have one person to feel like that's your family, you're not learning how to pay bills, how to budget. And I think the really important thing is that guy with that football talent. Everybody out there has dreams and talents and skills and stories, no matter how they look and how they're living. And you've got to have that faith that those people that you're walking past, they have all of that within them. They have dreams and ambitions and hopes, and they need support to reawaken them. And sometimes it takes someone else believing in them before they can believe in themselves. And that's really what Oasis Community Housing believe. We believe that we're going to find that within you, and how long, no matter how long it takes, we're going to get there.
And again, going back to that football story, it's literally, it is sometimes on a knife edge. I mean, how his life could have been so different.
Yes,
He could have
exactly.
been a multi-millionaire who could have made it to the England team. Who knows? But, it didn't quite happen for him. And I don't know his background. I don't know his upbringing. But, we don't treat these homeless people like they're like us. They're human beings. And I think that really needs to change. But thankfully, there are organizations like you guys who are helping to tackle this, because we need it. I think that homelessness in any country is an absolute devastation. But in the UK, when we're such a wealthy country and there's people having to use food banks and there's people who can't afford to pay the bills, they actually become homeless. So I just want to ask our listeners to support you guys, because, we can't be everywhere as a radio station, but what we can do is we can tell our listeners and our audiences to support, and maybe that can be a prayer, maybe it can be a financial gift, maybe it can be just following them on the socials. They're on Twitter, they're on Facebook, going to their website to find out more, or attending some of their events that they do, because these are fabulous. So you've just come back from a golfing event, haven't you?
Yeah, so that's my first ever golfing experience, and it was a really lovely day. And we do a real mixture of events across the year, and the golf was especially fun because it was really sunny. Everyone was in a really good mood. We talked about the charity, but also people get to meet one another and network and have a nice time, and find out more about what we do, but doing what we do, but do it in a really lovely environment. And it was really good. It was a lovely day, and hopefully we've got a comedy night coming up in the summer. And we also really appreciate people just taking a bit of their own time to think, actually, we've got a church coffee morning on this week. We've got something happening at my WI. Why not do that for a homelessness charity? Why not do that for Oasis Community Housing? Stuff like that really goes a long way. The more our community get behind us, the more that we can really bring that hope to people facing homelessness.
And was there any members of your team who basically took the golfing event very seriously, and they turned up in all the right stuff and they had all their own clubs, just as a great opportunity to showcase their own golfing ability? Name and shame them if you want on the radio.
No, I think what was more actually the issue is that we didn't have enough knowledge of the etiquette of golf, and that you're not supposed to wear denim. I didn't know you're not supposed to wear denim. You're supposed to wear a certain type of shoes. I didn't know that. I was very sensible though. I was like the proper mum for the day. I brought 4 different tubes of sun cream and five I think different hats. So I was handing people out hats when they were going around like you're burning, put a hat on. But no, I think next time I'll be more prepared and get the right fabric for the course. You must call it a course, do you? Yeah.
Don't ask me. So I stayed a few weeks ago at a golf course called the Belfry. And this is basically, it's in Birmingham, and it's where they hold, I think it's the Ryder Cup.
Oh,
when it
that's
comes
big,
to the
isn't it?
UK or something. I mean, I don't know much about golf, and it's a real shame because this experience was wasted on me, because you go in the gents' toilets and they've basically got photographs of when Tiger Woods made a famous putt on that course, and to me it means nothing. But talk about, I mean, wow, you're not actually even allowed in the reception if you haven't got appropriate clothing, and there was people who were walking from the gym into the hotel reception and being turned away and told that they had to go and put some suitable clothing on. So they do take it very seriously.
They
these
do.
golfers,
You have to have
they?
a collar. I think men have to have a collar or something. Can't wear collarless shirts. Yeah.
So
full on.
Do us a favor, friends, and I want you to search out on the socials Oasis Community Housing, and we want to get their followers up. I want you to send a tweet and just say, heard you, and thanks for all the great work you're doing, Oasis Community Housing, or why not head over to their website where you can get more info. You can also get involved as well, and you can contact them if there's anything that we've spoken about that you want to pick up on, you want to find out more, how you can help them in your area, then it is oasiscommunityhousing.org. And from all of us here, Joanne, to all of your team, thank you for joining with us and partnering with us. And we really do hope that it's successful, and we'll be praying for you. Take care and love to all the team.
Have a lovely day, everyone. Thank you.